Hello, citizens of Gotham. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching The Political Vigilante. And you know what you're doing when you're doing that? First of all, you're shaving your knuckles for justice and you're making Gotham great again. Great way to support the show, patreon.com/Graham Elwood. You can submit for $5 a month an article or topic for me to talk about. This was submitted by Alex Talk. Alex, you've been supporting me for a very long time. I very much appreciate it. Oh, I couldn't cover this immediately when he sent it to me because it just makes me so infuriated because it was very personal to me. Obviously, many of you have been watching the show for a long time know I lost my home to foreclosure as a direct result of policies by a little bit by Bush, but mainly by Obama and the whole Democratic Party. And Kamala Harris is now claiming, a couple weeks ago, she's like, I helped get homeowners. She's trying to take credit for a thing that actually caused more foreclosures. She sickens me, and the Democratic Party sickens me. The Republicans are degenerate assholes anyway, but the Democrats act like they're better, and they're not. They're not better. They're worse in some ways. This is in the Intercept. Kamala Harris celebrates her role in the mortgage crisis settlement. The reality is quite different. This is Dave Dayen. He's a comedian. I know Dave. This is somebody I would highly pay attention to. He has been covering this for several years, what happened in 08, 09, 2010, 20. He's been covering, he has a book out called Chain of Title. And I always make sure that yes, he's my friend, and I also want you to know this. He worked on the Obama campaign. He recruited me to phone bank in 2008 at his girlfriend's house to phone bank for Obama, which I did. We were all fired up for Obama. So he's not some, Trumper thinks Obama is a Nigerian terrorist or whatever. He is a big support, I don't know what his stance is now, of the Democratic Party. And he's calling them out and holding them responsible. And I give him full credit for that. Read his book, Chain of Title. This is what Dave Dayen had to say in The Intercept a couple weeks ago. Pretty much every major Democratic official involved in responding to the foreclosure crisis during the Obama years did an unforgivably terrible job. At the very least, they did a bad job. That's the very least. Most of them were complicit because they're paid by, we've talked about this before. So Steve Mnuchin donated to Kamala Harris's Attorney General campaign when she was running for Attorney General of the state of California. She got elected in 2011 as the Attorney General of the state of California. Didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin, who was then head of OneWest Bank. Now he's Secretary of Treasury or whatever, Trump's kangaroo court, oil lobby, banking whorehouse that he's got going on there. They're all going to the same tanning salon and strip clubs together doing blow. I don't know what. That's how we wound up with 10 million families losing their home. I always quote 5.2 million foreclosures, but now, according to Dave, it's actually 10 million. 10 million foreclosures. 10 million families losing their homes. 10 million families. I was one of them. I was married at the time. I remember sitting in my empty condo after the movers had taken everything out, and I was waiting for this guy to show up to do this cash for keys thing. So we didn't get evicted. And I remember sitting there with my wife going, they stole our home. And she said, you need to get loud about this. And I was like, I knew she was right, but I just couldn't. I was embarrassed to talk about it. I felt like a failure. As a man, as a provider, as anybody, as just a human being, I lost my home. And the media was doing a pretty good job of shaming people into like, oh, they were just reckless. Like I just went to Vegas with my mortgage and it's my fault. That's how we wound up with 10 million families losing their homes, an unprecedented disaster that touched every corner of America and triggered the populist backlash we're living through today. Yeah, 10 million people lost their homes. You know what some of them did? They voted for Trump. Can you blame them? I don't like Trump. I didn't like his campaign. But I can see why some people are just like, the hell with it. The whole system's broken. I'm going to vote for this guy. Or maybe now I'm going to become a white nationalist because the first black president got me out of my home and let the banks do it. And Obama didn't prosecute anybody. Neither did Kamala Harris. So her bullshit, tough talk, she is the worst. Her and Joe Biden, I cannot think of two worse potential presidents. I would rather have 4 more years of Trump. Well, we will. If either one of them get the nomination, Bernie's leading in the polls. Bernie has gotten over $18 million from 900,000 individual donors. No big money, no big corporate donors. But this is the nonsense that Kamala Harris has tried to take credit for. We went after the 5 biggest banks in the United States. We won $20 billion together. That's what she said in her campaign address when she announced in Oakland, California. She has highlighted the settlement for years as an example of a record on taking on powerful interests. No. In this article, read the whole article, but the article goes into, first of all, only about $9 billion actually made it into people's homes, the actual homeowners. And they said, we're going to help 1 million people stay in their homes. Only about 30,000 people stayed in their homes. Because what they did was what they did to me. So the recession hit. I was starting to pay my mortgage later in the month. I had very good credit score. And then I called IndyMac Bank, which I found out later, my mortgage and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of others was bought by OneWest Bank. And the person on the phone told me to pay my mortgage late and then I'll get all this stimulus money. This was in the fall of 2008 after the crash. So Bush had put a bunch of stimulus money in there. They put me on a 3-month forbearance, which is they cut my mortgage payment in half. And they said at the end of the 3 months, we're going to restructure your loan with all of this new stimulus money. I said, great. Not looking for a free handout. Just let me get my payment lower. Help me stay in my home. Absolutely. At the end of the 3 months, they said, oh, you don't qualify and you've been making half payments. So now you're 3 months behind. Obama got sworn in. He'll make it better. That's why I voted for him. Same thing happened to me 2 more times. And OneWest Bank did it intentionally. And I was in a nice neighborhood. And you read this whole article, the details of how they cheated and scammed people is just disgusting. It's disgusting. Yep. So when neoliberals say, oh, Obama inherited Bush, he couldn't. Okay, sure, he did. And he didn't fix it. He made it worse. He helped create 10 million foreclosures. 10. Did he prosecute anybody? No. Did he do any new banking regulation? No. He did Dodd-Frank, which is a Band-Aid on a shotgun wound. Another recession is coming, another housing crisis is coming, and it'll be because Obama and people like Kamala Harris did fucking nothing. She is awful. Do not vote for her. She put black and brown people behind prison, so if anyone's trying to play oh, you must be racist or sexist, nope. I talked to Tim Black or Nico House about her. They're not fans. She protected pedophile priests when she was district attorney in San Francisco. She's used private prison labor. She's awful. National mortgage settlement. This is the thing she was talking about. That's what that $20 billion was. It was the national mortgage settlement. This is how Dave Dayen breaks it down. A massive deal made with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and Ally Bank, formerly as GMAC in 2012, when she served as California Attorney General. And that settlement is best understood as a second bank bailout, protecting legally exposed mortgage fraudsters while doing little to prevent evictions. In fact, more families lost their homes as a result of transactions facilitated by the national mortgage settlement than those who got sustainable loan modification to save them. What I just told you, what happened to me. What happened to me, and more people got hurt by this thing that she's claiming, look what I did, I fought for you. Don't listen to the corporate Democrat, neoliberal, centrist platitude bullshit. It is complete lies, according to Dave Dayen at the Intercept. Worked for the Democratic Party, just so you know. Foreclosures on homes with no mortgage, foreclosures on people who never missed a payment, and multiple companies seeking foreclosures on the same property revealed the fracturing of a property record system that had served America well since the 1630s. Mortgage companies were also caught piling up legal fees, pushing customers into foreclosure, what they did with me, and lying to borrowers seeking loan modifications, what they did to me. Eventually, this mountain of false evidence and fraud burst into public view. And then the other joke organization, the Independent Foreclosure Review, was set up by the Obama administration. So I foreclosed in March of 2010. In like 2012, roughly, or 2012, I think that I got these notices, the Independent Foreclosure Review. Submit all your documents, and some people are getting financial restitution, and in some cases, people are getting their homes back or a similar home. And I was like, wow. And I didn't buy it. I was like, they're dangling this, send all your documents. And I was like, I had all this proof that they lied. What they said to me, how they got me out, all these forged documents. I had all this crap. Or not forged documents, but just their bullshit saying we're restructuring your loan, you're going to get this, and then it wouldn't happen. I wish I had recorded the phone calls with the people. I wish I would have had the wherewithal to do that. I didn't realize I had to act like the FBI and wiretap my mortgage company when they told me they were going to help me out. I submitted to the Independent Foreclosure Review, and they said we've had hundreds of thousands of people submit, so it's going to take at least 6 months. So just wait 6 months. And I called every 6 months for 2.5 years to finally get a notice in the mail saying you don't qualify. So they just added another 2.5 years to punch me in the fucking nuts. I was done. I lost my house, and then they dangled this carrot in front of me saying you might get a little something. And I got nothing. It wasn't even like they went, well, here's a check for 15 grand. I'd be like, all right, it's something. No, nothing. Bought my home for $550,000, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath condo in December of 2003. Today it would be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.3 to $1.5 million. Kamala Harris, on behalf of me and the other 10 million people who lost your homes, fuck you. I hope you go to prison. Fuck her, fuck Dianne Feinstein, fuck Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. You motherfuckers, you stole my fucking house. Fuck Mitch, fuck the whole Republican Party. Rand Paul, he can fucking jam it. Him and his old man, they're libertarian bullshit. They can go fuck themselves. These two parties are bullshit. They are fucking criminal organizations. I'd rather have the goddamn Bloods and the Crips or the Gotti family or whatever run this shit than these assholes. Of the 20 billion Harris touts, nearly half of it, 9.5 billion, came in the form of short sales, in which homeowners sell their properties for below the mortgage balance without having to make up the difference. That can be helpful to somebody's credit score. I wasn't even allowed to do that. So my foreclosure just came off a year or so ago. My bankruptcy stays on until December. Thanks, guys. That can be helpful to a credit score, but it results in you losing the home. The exact opposite intention of the settlement. It was all this, we're going to keep people in their homes. She didn't help anybody stay in their homes. And the banking has paid for her multiple campaigns. And I'm sure they're funding her bullshit presidential run, where she mocks people that want more schools, less prisons. See that fucking thing? I wish I was a black woman so I could go slap her in her fucking mouth. I wish I was a little black woman so I could just go, bitch, and slap her in her fucking mouth. Harris initiated a mortgage strike force, go fuck yourself, a bullshit thing, to prosecute individuals, but it only brought a handful of cases. Another token gesture, another bumper sticker. That's the way the Democratic, another platitude bumper sticker. We created a strike force. Did anyone get prosecuted? Let's see. Let's read this. It says, but only brought a handful of cases, and the ones her campaign touts as triumphs were against penny anti-foreclosure rescue scams. That's the classic scam. You know, there's people, drug dealers, you know, there's people way at the top profiting from drugs, so they just bust a bunch of mid-level dealers and go, we're stopping drug dealing. Because if they found out it went all the way up to the mayor or whatever, then, whoops. There's people buying cocaine in the California State Assembly. in Sacramento. I know this. Not the bankers who maneuvered homeowners into foreclosure in the first place. Harris passed up the opportunity to charge OneWest Bank, then chaired by Steve Mnuchin, for what her own investigators called it widespread misconduct. Didn't do it. Thanks, Kamala. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Patreon supporters, for submitting stuff like this. Share this video. Put this video on all of your social media. Let all of your neoliberal friends know how much bullshit Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party is. The Republicans are awful too. This is what we get. The lesser of two evils. You create 10 million foreclosures, and then we have a coked up tanning salon rapist Nazi in the White House. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Good work.